Understood. I will write the entire script in American English, following all the rules you established, while preserving the original concepts of The Laws of Human Nature by Robert Greene. Failure is not destroying your future. Your fear of failure is. Every time you avoid making a mistake, you also avoid becoming the person capable of winning. The tragedy is that most people never realize this because they confuse safety with progress. Failure sets you free only after you stop treating it like a verdict. That is the hidden promise behind today's title, and it's also the reason so many intelligent, talented people spend years trapped in the same place. But there is one psychological mechanism almost nobody notices, and once you understand it, you'll never look at failure the same way again. In The Laws of Human Nature, Robert Greene argues that human beings rarely act according to logic alone. Much of what we call caution is actually our ego protecting itself from embarrassment, rejection, and wounded pride. The greatest obstacle is often not the obstacle itself. It is the invisible battle taking place inside your own mind. Here is the question that changes everything. Why do some people become stronger after every failure, while others lose confidence after a single mistake? The answer has very little to do with talent, intelligence, or luck. It has everything to do with how the human mind interprets failure before it even happens. By the end of this journey, you'll understand why the fear that has been holding you back was never protecting you. It was quietly preventing you from developing the very mindset capable of changing your life forever. The ego creates an enemy called failure. Failure only becomes terrifying when your identity depends on never being wrong. Most people believe they fear failure because of its consequences. Losing money, missing an opportunity, or making a public mistake certainly feels uncomfortable. But beneath all of that lies something much deeper. What the mind truly fears is the damage to the image it has spent years building. That is one of the most revealing observations behind human behavior. The ego constantly creates a version of ourselves that must appear intelligent, capable, and in control. The moment failure threatens that image, the brain reacts as if survival itself were at risk. Suddenly, hesitation feels like wisdom. Playing small feels responsible. Avoiding challenges feels safe. This explains why talented people often remain invisible, while less talented people move forward. The difference is rarely confidence at the beginning. It is simply a different relationship with failure. One protects an identity, the other develops one. Look closely at children learning to walk. They fall hundreds of times without questioning whether they were born to walk. They simply try again because failure carries no personal meaning. Somewhere along the way, adulthood changes that equation. Every mistake begins to feel like evidence instead of education. The hidden cost is enormous. Opportunities disappear before they are even attempted. Businesses are never started. Conversations never happen. Dreams slowly transform into excuses that sound perfectly reasonable. The prison isn't built by failure. It is built by avoiding it. But this is only the surface of the problem. Behind the fear of making mistakes exists an even stronger force, one that quietly controls countless decisions every single day without most people ever noticing it. The invisible addiction to other people's approval. The fear of judgment is often stronger than the fear of failure itself. Here is where the trap becomes even more dangerous. Many people believe they are making careful, rational decisions, when in reality they are negotiating with an invisible audience that exists inside their own minds. Robert Greene explains that human beings are deeply social creatures. Throughout history, acceptance by the group increased the chances of survival. Rejection meant isolation, and isolation could mean death. Although the modern world has changed dramatically, the emotional wiring has not. The brain still treats social disapproval as a serious threat. That is why someone can spend months preparing for an opportunity, only to abandon it at the last second because of a single thought. What if people think I failed? Notice what happened. The real obstacle was never the challenge itself. It was the imagined reaction of others. History offers a powerful illustration. Before becoming one of the world's most successful filmmakers, Walt Disney was fired from a newspaper job because an editor believed he lacked imagination. Had Disney accepted that judgment as the truth about his identity, countless stories that shaped generations would never have existed. The criticism was real, but it became valuable only because he refused to let someone else's opinion define his future. This pattern appears everywhere. Professionals stay in careers that no longer inspire them because leaving might look irresponsible. Entrepreneurs postpone launching a business because failure could become public. Students avoid asking questions because appearing uninformed feels worse than remaining uninformed. The irony is almost painful. The approval people seek is usually temporary, while the regret of an unlived life can last for decades. Every decision made to protect your image slowly transfers control of your future into someone else's hands. Recognizing this mechanism is liberating, but it still doesn't explain why certain individuals seem to grow stronger every time life knocks them down. That answer overturns one of the biggest myths about success, and it changes everything that comes next. The people who learn the fastest usually fail the most. The fastest path to mastery is paved with visible mistakes. This is the turning point that completely changes the meaning of failure. Most people assume successful individuals made fewer mistakes than everyone else. In reality, many of them simply accumulated more useful failures in a shorter period of time. The human mind naturally looks at the finished result while ignoring the hidden process behind it. We see the accomplished entrepreneur, the elite athlete, or the respected artist, but rarely the countless rejected ideas, failed attempts, embarrassing moments, and painful adjustments that shaped their judgment. Success creates an illusion of certainty. Growth is almost always built through uncertainty. Thomas Edison is often remembered for inventing the practical light bulb, but what truly mattered was his relationship with failure. After thousands of unsuccessful experiments, he refused to interpret each result as proof of incompetence. Every failed attempt eliminated one more possibility and brought him closer to the solution. His greatest advantage was not intelligence alone. It was the ability to extract information where others saw humiliation. This is exactly where Robert Greene's understanding of human nature becomes so powerful. Every mistake delivers feedback. The ego hears criticism. The learning mind hears data. Two people can experience the same setback and leave with completely different futures because they assign different meanings to the same event. That explains why some individuals remain trapped in endless repetition. They spend more energy protecting their self-image than improving their abilities. Meanwhile, those willing to confront uncomfortable truths adapt faster because reality becomes their teacher instead of their enemy. There is another paradox hiding beneath this principle. Even people who accept failure often miss the final lesson that transforms setbacks into lasting confidence. That missing piece is not external at all. It is psychological, and once understood, failure loses much of its power, turning failure into psychological strength. The mistake that hurts you today can become the source of your greatest inner advantage. There is a profound difference between surviving failure and using it. Many people recover from setbacks with time, but only a few transform those experiences into a permanent shift in the way they think, decide, and act. That transformation is what separates resilience from true psychological strength. One of the most dangerous habits of the ego is turning every failure into a personal identity. A failed project becomes, "I am a failure." A rejected proposal becomes, "I am not good enough." A lost opportunity becomes, "I will always fall short." Notice how quickly the mind stops describing events and starts defining the person. Robert Greene encourages the opposite approach. Separate the event from your identity. A mistake is something you experienced, not something you became. This distinction sounds simple, yet it changes everything. When your identity remains intact, your curiosity survives. And curiosity is far more powerful than confidence because it keeps you moving even when certainty disappears. This shift also changes the questions you ask yourself. Instead of asking, "Why did this happen to me?" the mind begins asking, "What is reality trying to teach me?" That single adjustment redirects your attention from self-protection to self-improvement. Energy that was once wasted defending your pride is now invested in refining your judgment. Over time, something remarkable happens. Situations that once triggered fear begin to trigger analysis instead. Criticism becomes information. Rejection becomes direction. Obstacles become training. The external world has not changed, but your relationship with it has been completely rewritten. Yet one final obstacle remains. Even after learning to reinterpret failure, many people still hesitate when the next opportunity appears. They understand the lesson intellectually, but have not fully embraced what it means to live according to it. The final principle brings every idea together and reveals why freedom begins the moment failure loses its authority over your decisions. Freedom begins when failure no longer controls your decisions. The moment failure stops commanding your choices, your life finally becomes your own. By this point, the greatest illusion has already been exposed. Failure was never the true enemy. The real enemy was allowing the possibility of failure to dictate your behavior before anything had even happened. This is where a winner's mindset is truly born, not from endless confidence, but from a different relationship with uncertainty. People with this mindset still feel fear. They still experience doubt. They still make costly mistakes. The difference is that none of those experiences has the authority to decide what they will attempt next. Look back at every principle we've uncovered. The ego wanted to protect its image. The need for approval quietly shaped important decisions. The learning process demanded repeated mistakes. Psychological strength emerged only after separating identity from outcomes. Together, these ideas reveal a single pattern. Growth begins the moment reality becomes more important than pride. That realization changes everyday life in surprisingly practical ways. Difficult conversations are no longer postponed because rejection becomes acceptable. New opportunities are pursued without demanding certainty first. Skills improve faster because mistakes are analyzed instead of hidden. Every setback becomes an investment in better judgment rather than a sentence against your future. Ironically, this mindset also makes failure less frequent over time. Not because life becomes easier, but because every experience continuously sharpens perception, decision-making, and emotional control. The person who no longer fears mistakes becomes the one who learns faster than everyone else. And yet, there is one final insight that gives meaning to everything you've heard so far. It answers the question opened at the beginning. Why do some people become stronger after failure while others remain trapped by it? The answer is simpler than it appears, but once fully understood, it becomes almost impossible to see your own potential the same way again. The answer was never hidden inside failure itself. It was hidden inside the meaning you chose to give it. At the beginning of this journey, we asked why some people become stronger after failure while others spend years trapped by a single mistake. The difference is not talent. It is not intelligence. It is not luck. According to the principles explored in the laws of human nature, the decisive factor is the ability to understand and ultimately master your own nature before trying to master the world around you. Failure has no permanent meaning until your mind assigns one. The ego rushes to interpret every setback as a verdict on your worth. But reality tells a different story. Every meaningful achievement requires entering situations where success is uncertain. If uncertainty is unavoidable, then failure is not an interruption of growth. It is one of its essential ingredients. This realization changes more than your goals. It changes your identity. Instead of measuring your value by outcomes you cannot fully control, You begin measuring yourself by your willingness to confront reality, adapt, and continue. That mindset cannot guarantee immediate success, but it dramatically increases the probability of long-term achievement because learning never stops. Perhaps the greatest freedom a person can experience is no longer needing to appear successful at every moment. Once that burden disappears, curiosity replaces fear, action replaces hesitation, and progress replaces perfectionism. The energy once spent protecting your image becomes available to build your future. That is why failure truly sets you free. Not because failing feels good, but because it breaks the illusion that perfection is required before action. The moment you stop waiting to feel ready, you begin collecting the experience that eventually makes you ready. So the next time fear whispers that one mistake could define your life, remember this. The people who build extraordinary lives are not those who avoid failure. They are the ones who refuse to let failure decide who they become. If this perspective challenged the way you think, take a moment to reflect on one question. What opportunity have you been postponing simply because you were trying to protect an image instead of building a stronger mind? Sometimes, the answer to that single question is the beginning of an entirely different life.